Thank you for joining back to BRANDT's Peanut Fertility Program. I'm Clay Atkins, and we're going to go through a vegetative state and reproductive state of peanuts and when's the best time to apply BRANDT products and what they can be mixed with and cannot be mixed with. So to get started, we're going to look at vegetative state. Most peanut growers go by day 35 is normally when you would be looking at making a herbicide application. If you are following along with us on our program that we have, our PowerPoint that we have, you will see that your first application is going to be around that 35 day, and we have 3 products that you can tank mix. Most of the time in those herbicide applications you're looking at 2,4-DB, Cadre, maybe Zidua. You can see that we have Smart Sulfur Plus, Smart Quattro Plus, and Smart Manganese Plus. These products are designed to be mixed with these type herbicides. We do have additional smart systems that are not tank approved and will not mix with the pH or the contents that's in that herbicide. You can see that each one of these has a micronutrient package to it. So you look at a zinc, manganese, it's got some boron in there, it's got some sulfur in there. It really kind of depends on what you're looking for. If you started with our Enzyme manganese in furrow, you may look more towards that Smart Sulfur Plus. If you didn't start with manganese in furrow, then you may look more at the Smart Manganese Plus to get a little bit more manganese out in that vegetative state. So the reason we like to put one of these 3 products with that herbicide is when you spray that herbicide, that plant has to take that herbicide in, it has to metabolize it, and then move it out. So you're basically stalling the plant for 3, 4, 5 days, and we've all seen this. With these products and this technology, it helps that plant metabolize that herbicide at a much faster rate. So you get rid of the herbicide and get those micronutrients in there at a key timing. Like we said, that manganese is going to be really important in that chlorophyll production. You're going to be getting really close to your first bloom. So we want to keep that plant as healthy as we can and that chlorophyll ramped up to where it knows it can put off more blooms, which is going to in turn drive more pegs. So what kind of makes our BRANDT Smart system a little bit different? If you're looking at the slide there again, you'll see BRANDT Smart Systems versus a competitor's. And the best way to explain the smart systems is we have a really good tank compatibility. We can put it in the tank. A lot of times they get mixed directly between a fertilizer with a herbicide. And, if you don't have the right product, you can get some sludge, you can get some antagonism. And that's what we don't want. We want to be able to put these smart system products with your herbicide without affecting the herbicide and protecting the plant. We have the smallest molecular weight and size of any other micronutrient, so we have the ability to get through those small pores in the leaf surface. It doesn't just sit on top of the leaf. So allowing that product to get through the leaf cuticle into the phloem means that product is actually going to move throughout other surfaces. So you're going to look at new growth. You're going to move down to maybe leaves that you weren't hitting when you went across it. But the key is really moving into that phloem so we can get that micronutrients out to the key growing points. Another really good thing, like I said before, is tank compatibility. There's a lot of times that products will mix, but it causes antagonism. And the worst thing that could ever happen is to put a product into your spray tank and you go across the field and then all the alarms turn on. I think most of us that's ever sprayed a product has probably been there. It's a good peace of mind knowing that we can mix our Quattro Plus, our Smart Manganese Plus, or Smart Sulfur Plus directly with a 2,4-DB and Cadre. That's a really nice feeling knowing that we can mix those in the tank, go across that field, and it's going to perform very well for us. You'll see on the slide if you're following through. If you're not, it's no big deal. Smart Trio, which is a staple for BRANDT, is not compatible with peanut herbicides, such as that 2,4-DB and Cadre, which is going to be your 2 biggest ones. Your Smart Manganese, the original, probably not a lot of it still out there, but it will also not mix with a herbicide. you will see that the manganese plus, sulfur plus, and quatro plus will mix with these type herbicides, mainly peanut herbicides. All of these products will mix with a fungicide and insecticide. But what we really key in on these products is to go out with that herbicide to get some manganese in there at vegetative right before you start into that reproductive stage. And it helps that plant, it keeps it healthy. That's our biggest thing, is keeping a plant healthy. And this is what these products are going to do for you. Rolling over into reproductive state, most are now at a day 45 to a peanut grower. That's going to be first bloom. Every first bloom, we're looking at putting a boron out as well as a manganese out. But primarily, boron is probably the biggest nutrient that's put out at a R1 or first bloom in a peanut. Once you get into R1, then you look into R3. But mainly it's going to be day 45 and day 60 or day 65. So at R1, which will be 45 days after planting, which is what most of your peanut farmers are going to relate more to, we're going to start putting out a fungicide, maybe an insecticide with a boron. Really, we have two key boron products that are kind of revolutionary, other than just a normal 10% boric acid. One of those products is a Smart BMO. Smart BMO is a low use rate, 5% boron, 0.5% of moly. We have been able to move that boron inside the plant, which is unlike a normal 10% boric acid. Our boron is actually protected. It's got molecules on each end of that boron molecule, and it will allow that boron to actually translocate into other leaf surface. So your new growth or your growing pegs, anywhere there's going to be cell elongation where your walls are building, that's where you want the boron to be. You don't want it sitting on an older leaf. We want to move it to that new growing tissue. The second product is Smart KB. It's kind of a newer product for us in the last couple of years, and I think it's going to really take hold in the peanut industry as well as other row crops. So we took our normal use rate of Smart BMO and put it into a potassium product. So it's a 2O16 and then 2.5% boron and 0.25% of moly. So at a quart rate, we're getting our normal 1 pint rate of Smart BMO. And that's a product that will go out that day 45, first bloom, with a fungicide insecticide. It mixes perfectly. We have no problems with a KB or BMO mixing in at that time. You also know that sometimes if you are late on a day 35 herbicide application, when you get to that 45 days, you may want to add in your 2,4-DB and Codrate. These products will mix just fine with those two herbicides. So you're safe with that, and even Zidua that's added in, you are completely safe in the tank with those. So the reason we've really looked at boron is what we call hollow heart. Hollow heart is a tremendous deal because you really don't know it's there until it's too late. Until you turn those peanuts in and get a grade and your grade is terrible, you realize then that you had hollow heart. Boron is extremely relatable to hollow heart. When you have adequate amounts of boron, you will not see that hollow heart. That's exactly where it's coming from, is the lack to move, that boron, that sugar to help fill that seed. You're going to see root nodulation in a much better state, especially with one of our Smart BMO or our Smart KB, because it has that moly in there, which is really going to help drive those nodules into producing that nitrogen. When we look at putting it at day 45, you see your flower retention, what you're trying to hold. You're looking at the fruit set. You've got to have boron to help build those cells and to hold those blooms and to drive that peg into the ground. And there's been years and years of data on a normal 10% boron in peanuts, and it's really an industry staple. But what we've seen out of our research, both in variety or in university trials, as well as private consultants and on farms, we're seeing with this Smart BMO and this Smart KB is really taking the boron to a next level. So when you think about boron, and this is a big question on peanuts, well, we put out a dry boron with our dry fertilizer in the spring? Is it still there? Boron is the most leachable micronutrient out there. Most of your peanuts are in a sandy soil, so obviously it's easier to be leachable. Most peanuts are in the south. As you well know, we're getting anywhere between 55 and 65 inches of rain in a year's time, but a lot of that is in the spring and during our growing season. That rain is driving it down. When you have a low organic matter, so normally in your peanut ground, your sandier ground, it's not able to hold as much boron. And in that pH range, you're in that 5 to 6.5 pH, your boron, it's going to kind of hang there. Low pH is going to bind up, high pH is going to bind up. So there's a lot of factors against you when you're talking about boron in the soil. I have nothing wrong with putting a boron out with your dry to get it there, when it first come up. But you're talking about 45 days to the end of that peanut crop, which is around 150. That's a long time for boron to still be hanging around. So it is adamant that we get a boron product out at that R1 day 45 and then at day 60, day 65. So if you're following along, like I say, you can see that the Smart B, Smart BMO, Smart KB, and then our 10% boron. The Smart BMO, Smart KB are going to be a lower pH in that tank mix, which is good. When you look at a 10% boron, you're in between a 7 and 9 pH, which can sometimes throw off an insecticide application. You can see that these products are all tank compatible with a fungicide and insecticide. They're all compatible with a manganese except that 10%, and we've got jar test on that just because of that pH range may vary. So as I said before, when you look at our Smart BMO and the ability for it to move, you can see in a slide here that it's actually protected. So we can get it through the leaf cuticle, through the cell wall into your phloem, so you have the ability to move boron, which is really revolutionary still today. We've had some really good trials with Smart BMO. We've had good trials with 10% as well as our manganese products. If you can see here, if you're looking at a slide, 10% boron. This is in Mississippi. This is right here in Lackey, Mississippi. This ground has grown peanuts in the past. You can see we had a good variation here. You look at untreated, that's no 10% boron, no boron at all. You said we add 10% to it. I mean, you're talking 500 pounds there. When you look at adding our Quattro Plus, which has got manganese in it, that was sprayed out at day 35 with that herbicide, where we're able to add more yield to that. You look at 4385 untreated versus 5464 with a Quattro plus the BMO. As you can see, the Smart BMO next to it, we were say 5 pounds difference here between Smart BMO and 10%. The Smart BMO is a much lower use rate. We were looking at a pint here at 45 and then a pint at 60. Your 10% was a quart at 45 and a quart at 60. So you can see, a lower volume of product, and it still drove yields. Plus, we were able to keep that, tank mix solution at a more base pH, because that Smart BMO has a base pH versus your 9 to 10 with a 10%. And then you can see your BRANDT Enzyme manganese, which is what we discussed earlier, or in part 1 of this video series. That was a really good bump. It was like 498 pounds just by adding in 1 quart of Enzyme manganese with your inoculant and fungicide insecticide. So we didn't have any tank mixing, no issues. We did not kill our inoculant. You can see here, it was really a game changer for us at the price of this product. When you look at the trials we've done on Smart B, this is just the Smart B. It's done fairly well for us. So you can see it's a 70% win rate on that product. When you look at Smart Manganese on peanuts, this is the original Smart Manganese. You can see we had a really good jump here. If you're looking at the slide with us, they run 1 pint of this product. I like a quart of it. but we had a significant jump on that. The reason is that sandier soil, the manganese was low, but we didn't really know that. It looked good on a soil sample, but it was low in the plant tissue after we started, analyzing this. As you can see here, it was quite a jump in northwest Mississippi with this product. So just to kind of recap, we're going to look at our Enzyme, Enzyme Manganese in furrow. That product has been really good for us in the past years on the legume crop, and we expect to see it really take over the peanut industry. Once you get with that, you look at that, V3 to R1 stage with your herbicide application. Sulfur Plus, Quattro Plus, Smart Manganese Plus. Those products are going to give you good manganese. They're going to give you some sulfur. It's going to give you some zinc with that. So we're really looking at that chlorophyll production and keeping that plant healthy. Just remember, adequate manganese is the best plant's defensive system it can have. So when you start seeing that manganese drop low, you have the tendency to see more disease coming to that field. When you look into the reproductive stage, Smart BMO, Smart KB, you can add in your manganese here as well. That manganese is keeping the health of that plant, but boron is really key at this timing. So just keep that in mind. We're going to continue to do work with these products. We're going to continue to get them on the farm. We're going to continue to get results from this. There's a lot of information that we have on our BRANDT website that you can go to, just BRANDT.co. You'll be able to see some of that stuff we're working on. When it comes to finding these products, we have an app. It's called BRANDT Product Finder app. You can download it on your phone. It's for Android and iOS, but it's a game changer when you're looking for a specific product, maybe just not related to peanuts, but related to a micronutrient. You can type in kind of what you're looking for, and it'll pull up every product that we have on that. We also are doing info to grow. We'll be posting these on social media. They'll be through corn, soybeans, peanuts, wheat, as well as fruit and vegetables. So be sure to stay with us on the social media platform, and you'll be able to see these info to grow throughout the season. And lastly, I just want to thank you for being attentive and watching the videos. If you have questions, please don't hesitate to call us or email us. We'll be glad to take any questions. If you've got any problems, we'll be glad to address those. So I just want to thank you again for that. Have a good day.